This is a SnapEd New York video presentation.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. This is Miss Sam with the Farm to Preschool program. How are you guys doing today? Hope to hear you guys are doing great. Today we're going to be talking about another fruit or vegetable. This is going to be lesson number 3. So we have now met a total of 3 times. This is super exciting to Miss Sam because she loves talking about fruits and vegetables. They are my favorite. And today we're going to be talking about one that Miss Sam has been working on for a really long time. So today, let's get started with our word wall. So the first word on the word wall is orange, the color orange, which Miss Sam will show you a picture of now. Color orange. Can you think of anything that you see in the classroom or at home that is orange? One thing I could think of is something I eat, which is an orange, a fruit. Also a basketball. Any basketball players in here? Basketballs are also orange, right? And today's vegetable is orange. So exciting. The other word is brown. Can anybody think of anything brown? Yeah, Miss Sam's eyes are brown, right? So brown is also the color of this fruit or vegetable that we're talking about today. What? How could it be 2 colors? We'll talk about that soon. The next word we're going to share is skin or peel. Now we've talked about peel before, but when the peel is a little bit thinner, we call it a skin, right? Can you guys think of something else that has skin? Us! Yeah, people, we have skin, right? A lot of skin, and we wash it and we take good care of it, right? So skin or peel. The next word we're going to talk about is flesh. I don't know if you guys remember this from the first week, but flesh was the part inside of the peel. So the peel in this picture is the purple part, and the flesh is the white part on the inside, right? Or in a banana, the flesh is the part that we eat of a banana, right? The white mushy part. The next word we're going to use is smooth. This smooth word has managed to get into each one of our lessons, right? Each week we've talked about smooth. So smooth is the opposite of bumpy, right? Sometimes you find a rock and it's really bumpy, or you find a road that's really bumpy. And sometimes you have smooth sailing. The road is nice and smooth, right? So the next word we have is hard. Anybody know what hard is? Yep, exactly. So hard is the opposite of soft. So sometimes you have things that are soft and fluffy, and then you have things that are hard, like this wall behind Miss Sam. That's pretty hard. So hard I can knock on it, right? The next word we have is sweet. Sweet. Can anybody think of things that are sweet? And what does sweet usually refer to? Is it a color? Is it a noun? No, sweet is a flavor, right? So the first lesson we talked about the flavor profile mild. So sweet is another flavor profile. Something that is sweet is strawberries, right? Strawberries are sweet. Bananas, when they're really ripe, are sweet. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the word sweet. The next word is sun. So sun is super important to our plants, right? That's how our plants eat. The sun provides the plants with a lot of food. And it also keeps us warm, right? The next word we have is eye. And not this kind of eye. It's an eye in a potato. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a bit. But that's the next word, an I. The next word is water. Water, the ever refreshing water. Everybody loves water. I'm getting thirsty just talking about it. Water is so important, right? For our fruits and our vegetables and for us to stay hydrated, even to wash our hands. Water. And the last word is soil. Does anybody remember what soil is from last week? I'll throw a picture up. So soil. Now, some of you might be thinking, Miss Sam, that ain't soil. That looks like dirt. Well, soil is dirt, kind of, but it's a special dirt. It has a lot of nutrients for plants, and it helps plants grow big and strong. So soil. All right, so let's jump into our lesson now. Today, we are going to be talking about a really, really tasty vegetable.
All right, so here we have our vegetable that we are talking about today. Can anybody guess what this vegetable is? It is a type of potato. Notice how it's a little more red. Yes, this is a sweet potato. So what color would you guys say the outside of this potato is? It's a little more orangey red, right? Would you say that this potato is smooth or bumpy? It's got a couple of bumps along it, right? And I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, what are all those little spots on it, right? So those, my friends, are called eyes. We'll talk more about those later. And it's also one of the words on our word wall, right? So those are the eyes of the potato. Now, what shape would you say this potato is? This one kind of looks like a squish football, huh? All right, so it's a little harder. And compared to the last thing we talked about, which was spinach, would you guys say this is lighter or heavier than spinach? Probably a little heavier, right? Has anyone in the class ever tasted a sweet potato? So based off the outside, you might think you haven't, but let's take a look inside to see if maybe some of you guys have tasted a sweet potato. Miss Sam is going to take this moment to wash her hands and wash a sweet potato, and I will be right back. All right, friends, so we are back now. Miss Sam has scrubbed all the outside of potato, and I have also washed my hands. I wanted to share with you guys how important it is to wash the outside of your potato because potatoes grow in the ground, as we will talk more about later. So if you have a brush available, you want to make sure you scrub your potato really hard with a brush to get off any debris or dirt that might still be on the outside. If not, you can wash it very thoroughly with your hands to make sure that all that dirt and debris comes off. So let's take a look inside of our sweet potato. What a surprise! Look at that color inside. Can anybody tell me what color it is on the inside? Orange, right? And I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's almost some white to it as well. That is so pretty, right? So we have an orange sweet potato right here. And maybe now that you see the inside, it might look a little more familiar. Maybe you've had this before at Thanksgiving as mashed sweet potatoes, or maybe even as baked sweet potatoes, right? With the handouts that your teachers will be sending home, you will have a recipe for sweet potato planks that you can bake at home that are super tasty. So looking at the inside, let's talk about what part of the potato can be eaten. Do you guys know what part of this you can eat? It's kind of a trick question because you can eat all of it, right? You can eat the inside, which is the flesh, and you could also eat the outside, which is the skin or the peel, right? So all of the potato is edible. Miss Sam has also cut one this way, the round way, so we can look at it as well. Now, another thing Miss Sam has done today is I have brought a regular potato for us to look at so we can tell the difference between a sweet potato and a regular potato. So what is one big difference you guys notice? It's a very different shape, right? This potato is very round and roly-poly, whereas this one is still our squished football shape, right? All right, what else is a big difference? The color, right? We have a much more orange hue to this one than this one. Yeah, so sweet potatoes have a lot of different nutrients than regular potatoes, even though they're still part of the same family. So one last thing to note is that very similar to regular potatoes, when you cook sweet potatoes, the inside becomes very soft, just like regular potatoes. So if you guys have ever had mashed potatoes, they're very soft and fluffy, right? The same thing happens with sweet potatoes. After you bake them, you can mash up the sweet potato and make really delicious, fluffy, sweet mashed potatoes. But right now, both of them, since they're not cooked, are still hard, right?
All right, so now that we've talked about sweet potatoes as they would be when you eat them, let's talk about what sweet potatoes are like when you're gonna plant them in the garden. Now, sweet potatoes, unlike the other two things we've talked about, grow from something called slips. So this has to do with the eyes of the potato. I don't know if you guys remember, the eyes of the potato are these guys, right? Well, maybe not that one, but yeah, so they have these eyes on them, right? Those little spots. And that is what helps a sweet potato grow. Now, Miss Sam has been working on something since maybe January. I first put the sweet potato slip in to try to see if it grew. Last year I didn't do it early enough, so I didn't get to share it with the classroom, but this year Miss Sam was successful. So here I have a sweet potato slip. So Miss Sam is going to pull this out so she can show the class today. So we have all these roots growing out of the bottom of the sweet potato, right? And that is how it is drinking its water. And then out of the eyes up here, Miss Sam was able to get some leaves out, right? Is that cool or what? So now what we would do is we would take this and plant it in the soil. So all of this would go under the soil. The only part that would stick out are those little leaves, right? We would plant the rest under the soil. And that is how the sweet potato would grow. And actually we have two little plants growing out of two separate eyes. I don't know if you could see that. That little leaf is blocking it here. It's easier from this side. But you can see two different leaves growing out of the eyes of this potato. And all those beautiful roots that are trying to take up all that water to feed the potato, right, to keep it alive. So all Miss Sam did was she took her sweet potato, poked a toothpick through it. This is something you guys can do in the classroom or at home. Poked a toothpick through it and put part of it submerged under the water. So right now it's not submerged because it drank all the water. But normally you put the water up to about there so it can be partially submerged. And then eventually you'll see a little root start growing out, just one little root poking through. But over time, it'll become a really cool plant of its own, right? So Miss Sam is pretty proud of her baby, but I'll definitely help you guys get started on some of those when Miss Sam is able to come back after the coronavirus.
So going back to our sweet potato, which belongs in our vegetable group, we discussed how it grows and also the difference between sweet potato and regular potato, right? So I hope you guys will go home and maybe give sweet potato a try. If you have the opportunity, you can also try to compare a sweet potato and a regular potato. Thank you guys so much for your time today, and I hope you guys have a really great day.
Thank you for joining us today. We know the healthy choice isn't always the easiest choice, but small changes can make a big difference. Start today by getting involved with SNAP Ed New York. This program is free for those who qualify or receive SNAP benefits. We want to help you save time, save money, and eat healthy. Learn how SNAP Ed can make a difference in your life. For more information and to find your local program, visit snapedny.org. This material is funded by USDA's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. SNAP. This institution is an equal opportunity provider.